Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. How are you doing? How's the new broadcast? We are still in beautiful Spokane, Washington, but instead of being downtown, we are now in our North Side studios. So we are piloting this. Hi, my name's Abby. No, I know, I'm not Abby. I'm Neil. I'm substituting for Abby right now. Sorry. I'm not as attractive as Abby, but you'll just have to put up with me for a couple weeks. I'm happy to be here. Hopefully, you're having a wonderful Tuesday so far. Oh shucks, JB, thank you. It's got stripes. My shirt's got stripes. JB just complimented me on my shirt, so it's doing that kind of weird motion thing that stripes like to do on video. This old thing, I just threw it on this morning. I'm doing well. I hope you are all doing well. Yeah, this is what I am what Abby would look like with a beard. Thank you for pointing that out, Fanny. If Abby could grow a beard, she would look just like this, exactly like this. And as you can see in the chat room, we're joined by another Smart Live teacher, Josh. Josh will be moderating today. Hi, howdy, hello. I love that greeting, howdy. It's very Western American. Howdy. It's what a cowboy would say. Oh, hello, Nora and Leo. Welcome. Welcome to our first broadcast from beautiful Northside Spokane. I can no longer say beautiful downtown Spokane. So we are on the north side. I am Namaste, Bharat. I am pleasantly surprised to see you all here today. I'm glad we're up and running and that we can meet again one more time for a lesson. Speaking of lessons, oh, there's the information. I shared the link to the class notes with you in the chat room. So hopefully you got those. Maybe one more time. I shared it just one more time. If you're just joining us, and I see Diary is just joining us. Hello, Diary. Welcome, everyone. I shared the class notes one more time. Today we're talking about gerunds and infinitives. Gerunds are verb ing, and I'll cover that in a second. But first of all, because I am sharing class notes with you, let me just cover these links. I know most of you know about these links, but if you don't, if you have any more questions about these Smart Live classes, you can contact Zach at smartenglish.com. Remember, no A in smart, SMRT. Zach at smartenglish.com. If you want to know more about these classes, you can follow one of these two links. These are the Smart Live classes. When you subscribe to Smart Live, you will have access to the Smart curriculum with many lessons and exercises. Of course, there's pre-intermediate English with me, Abby. Then there's intermediate English with Sean, upper intermediate English with that handsome devil, Neil, and finally, English for academic purposes with Josh, who you all know. He's in the chat room with you right now. And good morning and hello to those of you just joining us. Awatef and Sway. Let me know how the connection is. Let me know if it's working well on your end. Everything's working well on my end so far. So far, so good. Okay, let's look at the next one. If you have not yet joined the Facebook group, you can do so at Learn English on Facebook with Smart. And of course, since you're already on YouTube, you probably know we have a YouTube channel. But in case you didn't, check out all of our archived videos on the YouTube channel. And then you can watch old videos by Sean, Joshua, Abby, and myself. Okay, those are the links. So hopefully you will find this helpful, the difference between infinitives and verb ing. We use two different forms of verbs when we use a verb pattern. And all I mean when I say verb pattern is using two verbs in a row in a sentence. So anytime you write a sentence and you need to use two verbs in a row, you have to make a choice. You will either choose an infinitive or a verb ing. Sometimes you don't have a choice, and sometimes deciding which one is proper to use can be confusing. So that's what we'll talk about today. I'm going to use the slideshow presentation from the Smrt curriculum. Please follow along with the class notes. I will share those one more time for those of you just joining us. The link to the class notes is in the chat room. One more time. Oh yeah, I see. Okay. All right, let's get started. Let's talk some English grammar. Why not? Okay, let's look at this first example sentence. Chris is studying to become a lawyer. You'll notice, and maybe I'll pop myself out so you can see the word lawyer. Chris is studying to become a lawyer. In this sentence, you'll notice two verbs are highlighted in color. We have studying and become. The verb studying is our main verb. It's a present continuous verb, is studying. And you can always tell a present continuous verb because it has a be verb in it. And here we have the be verb is, and then a verb plus an ing, is studying. Now, we wouldn't call this a gerund. This is actually the main verb. It's a present continuous verb. But right after it, we have another verb, to become. To make an infinitive or an infinitive phrase, you're going to need the word to, T-O, and then an unchanged verb. What I mean by an unchanged verb is a verb that doesn't have an S, doesn't have an ED, doesn't have an ing. No change has been made to the verb. So that's a little example of what we're going to be talking about today. So I have one verb, is studying, that's my main verb, and then it's followed directly by another verb. If I do this with the verb study, I'm going to need to follow with the infinitive. So let's talk about infinitive verbs first. Let's talk about infinitive verbs. Verbs can have many forms in English. The infinitive form is when a verb is unchanged. It is sometimes called the base form or dictionary form. If you want to know the meaning of a word that is a verb, and you look it up in the dictionary, you will look up its infinitive form. That's how you will find it in the dictionary. That's why it's sometimes called the dictionary form. It's sometimes called the base form. I've even heard it be called verb 1. So verb 1, base form, dictionary form, infinitive form, all mean the same thing. They just mean an unchanged verb. That's right, Leo, we're talking verb patterns. Sumi, hello. If you're just joining us, we are talking about verb patterns, when you have to use either an infinitive or a gerund. let's look at some verbs first of all. Let's look at some examples of some verbs. The verb go, this first word, go, is highlighted in blue. That's our infinitive form. Notice it doesn't have the es that you would use with he, she, or it. It doesn't have the ing. It's not past tense, and it's not verb 3. It's not the past participle. It's not the perfect form. Only the first one is the infinitive form. All of these others are other forms of the verb go, but none of them are the infinitive. So anytime I say use the infinitive of go, it'll be this one. It'll just be G-O, G-O. That's the infinitive form. The rest of these, no, not the infinitive form. However, it's very important to learn all the forms of a verb. So the infinitive form go, in third person singular, he, she, it, Josh, Rosa, the car, will all be goes. If you want to use the present or past or future continuous, the car is going, you would use that form. Past tense, the car went. And then perfect form, the car had gone. And I can also use that as an adjective. The car is gone. So all forms of go. First one, again, is the infinitive. Let's look at another verb. Eat. You all know this verb. Eat. It's what we like to do every day. So here's the infinitive. Eat. No change. No S. Not like you would use with third person singular. Not like you would use with he, she, and it. Because we added the S, this is no longer infinitive. So here's our infinitive. Eat. The rest, not infinitive. Eats. Here's the ing form, eating. Here is the past form, ate. And then the past participle form, or the perfect form, eaten. Eat, ate, eaten. This is an irregular verb, what we call an irregular verb, because the past form and the perfect form, the past participle form, are different. They don't have the ed ending. So we call it irregular. Eat, ate, eaten. Eat, ate, eaten. Be, you know the be verb. Be has many, many forms. Be, am, is, are, was, were, been, being. Again, only the first one, only be, is the infinitive. None of these others are infinitive. We can't call these others infinitive. So we can't use them as an infinitive. They will not follow the word to. Be, are, were, or be, were, been. There's our verb 2 and our verb 3. Past tense form and perfect form. Be, were, been. And the rest are used depending if you have first person singular like I am, or third person singular like he is, she is, it is, or a plural subject like we are, they are, and then of course past tense was, or past tense plural were, they were, we were, he was, she was, it was. So be has many, many forms, but only the first form be is infinitive. Like. Like, likes, liking, liked. Notice there's not a lot of examples of like. Again, only the first one is the infinitive. Like is regular, meaning we just add ed. So this is the past form, liked, and it's the perfect form, the past participle form, liked. So if a verb can have an ed form for past and past participle, it's called regular. So like is a regular verb. Again, only the first form, only the unchanged form, the dictionary form, is the infinitive form. Play. Again, a regular verb. It just gets an ed. Play, played, played. Plays for he, she, it. Playing for the continuous. Again, only the first form is infinitive. Try. Again, only the first form is infinitive. Not the form you use for third person singular. He tries, she tries, it tries. Not the form you would use for continuous. He is trying, I am trying, they are trying. But again, it's regular. If I used past tense, I tried to start my car, ed ending, or I had tried to start my car, ed ending. So if you can use the ed ending on a verb for past and perfect forms, it's called a regular verb. So try is a regular verb. Of course, if you have a word that ends in y and you change it to the past or the perfect form using ed, you have to change the y to an I. But again, only try is the infinitive form. Sumi, you say, going back to like, you say you've never seen liking? Yeah. Boy, I would not, that's a good point, Sumi. I would not use that. I think like is a state verb. Usually state verbs don't get an ing ending. I would not say, I am liking that. Yeah. We'll have to return to that. That's a very good point, Sumi. Usually state verbs like, love, wonder, believe, usually those don't get the ing ending. If you've seen some of these past classes, you may have noticed in units 7 and 8, we need the infinitive form of a verb when we use modal verbs. So really quick, to return to that idea, if we have a modal, and again, the modals are will, might, may, can, could, must, should, would, shall. Anytime you use a modal with a verb, any verb, that verb will be an infinitive verb. So if you use one of the modals, will, might, may, can, could, must, should, would, shall, it will be followed by an infinitive verb. By an infinitive verb. Always, always. Hi, Estoy, you are not super late. We are talking about verb INGs, gerunds, and infinitives. Let's look at some examples of a modal used with an infinitive verb. It might rain soon. Over the city of Paris here, we have some dark clouds. So if we make a guess, we would say it might rain soon. Looks like it might rain soon. So here we have the modal might and the infinitive verb rain. No S, no ED, no ING, no change to the verb rain. So it is infinitive. It's the infinitive form. Now here we do not have a verb pattern. This is not a verb pattern. This is modal might with the verb rain. This does not create a verb pattern. However, The rule here is if you use a modal, like might, your verb will be the infinitive form. No change to the verb. Always 100%? Yes. Always 100% yes. Looks like you are writing different forms of this. The rain prediction, it might rain soon. Might, here the only lesson we need to know, the only rule we're looking at is if you use a modal, next word, your verb, will be infinitive. Okay, next example sentence. I couldn't understand class very well today. Oh, Estoy, you have a question about this. If you see dark clouds and you want to say a sentence, should you say it is going to rain or it might rain soon? You could even say something like it will rain soon or it could rain soon. If we use the modal might, it's like maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not a weather person. It might rain soon. If you say it is going to rain soon, you are very certain. It is going to rain is very, very certain. You feel like you have a 100% or close to it, a 99% guess at accuracy. It is going to rain soon. We can't say it must rain soon. We cannot demand that the weather rain. We cannot order the weather to rain. So it's very strange to say it must rain soon. I suppose you could if you were very, very desperate. If you felt like you needed rain desperately. If you were a farmer and you did not have rain, it was too sunny, all of your plants were dying, all of your crops were dying, you were in a drought, you could say something like, it must rain soon, because you feel desperate, you feel in need of rain. But usually we don't say, it must rain soon. We cannot make that demand of the weather. We cannot order the weather to do something. Let's go back to this one. I couldn't understand class very well today. Here we have a negative modal. A negative modal. Could not. And we've put it together here. Couldn't. I couldn't understand class very well today. So this still counts as a modal, even if we make it negative. And then the verb after it is an infinitive verb, an unchanged verb. We can only use the unchanged form of understand. We can't use understood because that's past. We can't use understanding because that's the ing form. Always, 100% of the time, when you use a modal, doesn't matter if it's the positive form or the negative form, the verb after the modal will be the infinitive form. I couldn't understand class very well today. Hopefully you're understanding class well today. Okay, this one's a little different. It's a question. So the order of the words is a little different. Can you speak English? Can you speak English? Where is the modal in this sentence? Where is the modal in this sentence? Can you speak English? Where is that modal? I guess I'm asking you. Can you write your answers in the chat room? What is the modal verb in this sentence? Rosa, that's correct. Diary, that's correct. Rosa was first. Good job, Rosa. You're very, very fast. The modal verb is can. When you have a question form and you use a modal, the modal will come first. Can. The modal form is can. Rosa, you can't find the modal verb? Here it is. The modal is can. And notice that the subject comes between the modal and the verb. Even though the subject comes between the modal and the verb will still be infinitive. Not spoke, not spoken, not Spokane, that's the name of a city, not speaking, speak, the infinitive form, verb 1, the base form, the dictionary form. So even in a question, when we break the modal can with the verb speak, even though we put the subject in the middle, it follows the same rule. If we have a modal, the verb that comes after the modal, even if it doesn't come directly after, will be verb 1, speak. Can you speak English? Here, fluency doesn't matter. They're not asking, can you speak English fluently? They're just asking, can you speak English? Can you have a conversation? Don't worry about fluency or pace or speed. If we added that adverb fluently, it would be a different question. Jamil, I think you're lying. I bet you can speak English. If you can type that sentence, I bet you can speak a little bit of English, maybe a little bit of English. Leo says he can order a pizza. Good use, Leo, of the infinitive order. I can order a pizza. Asaya, no, I can't speak English. That is a correct sentence. You use the negative modal can't and the infinitive verb speak. Could, that's a good question, Estoy. Could is sometimes past and sometimes ability. Could can be used for past and sometimes for ability, sometimes for past ability. Sometimes could is used for politeness. Could you hand me a napkin? Can I say, Paluxio, you're asking, can I say, do you know English? Yes, you can ask that question. You can ask the question, do you know English? I can dance the can, the dance. Yes, Palucio, good example. Could you open the window, please? Fanny, I'm glad my voice helped you take a nap. We're on the to plus infinitive. Anytime we add to plus infinitive, that's called an infinitive phrase. So now we're going to talk about infinitive phrases. Infinitive phrases. John asks when we will teach adverbial clauses. Stay tuned to Abby's class on Tuesdays, and eventually you will have a lesson on adverbial clauses, or you can always look in the archives of the Smrt Live classes for an adverbial lesson. Okay, back in units 7 and 8, maybe you studied this with Abby. You learned you could use infinitive verbs with the phrases be going to, have to, and need to. So here's the to. For example, I think I am going to study at the library tomorrow. I think I'm going to study at the library tomorrow. So we have the word to, followed by the infinitive verb. Not to studying, not to studied, just the infinitive form. I think I'm going to study at the library tomorrow. So if we have this word to, remember it will be followed by an infinitive verb. Asaya, you write the example sentence, I'm going to have some fun after this class. That's correct. You have the word to, and you followed it with the infinitive form of have. I'm going to have some fun after this class. It looks like I'm in the way of the example sentences again, so I'll pop out for a second. Yes, here we're talking about an action in the future. I think I'm going to study at the library. Notice we have the word tomorrow. Here's a question. Why do you have to work on Sunday? So even if it appears in a question, the word to, we're going to make an infinitive phrase. Why do you have to work on Sunday? To work. Have to work. Obligation. Something you feel you are responsible for doing. Bebe, we would say, I am going to have a meal, not I'm going to have some meal. I'm going to have a meal. Shankar, we would not say going studying. You can't say I am going studying. You can say I am going to study. So after the going, you're going to use an infinitive phrase. I'm going to study. Lucio, I have to take the bus to work tomorrow. Yeah, I have to take. So after the word to, you will use the infinitive form take. I have to take the bus to work tomorrow. Rosa says, I think I'm going to take a nap, which I postponed because of this class. I am going, afterwards, the word to, so the infinitive form of the verb take. Steve says, I'm going to click the like with all my affection to Smart Lessons. Thank you, Steve. We appreciate it. I'm going to click. After the word to, click. John asks, what's the difference between I have to or I am to? I have to is obligation. You feel it's your responsibility. I am to is very formal. You don't see that form a lot anymore. It means the same thing, but we don't use that form, especially in American English. We would call it a very old or antiquated form. It's very, very formal. Let's look at another example sentence. You don't need to help me. I'm okay. Again, even with the negative, don't need to help. After the word to, always an infinitive verb. You don't need to help me. I'm okay. Sway says, I'm going to spend my time with Smart English. Going to, because you use the word to, infinitive verb spend. Infinitive verb spend. Thushara, you asked at what time do we need to use to plus infinitive? That's a good question. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that now. When do we use that? Well, we just saw in these examples, need to, have to, going to. So if you have these be going to, here we have I am going to, have to, need to, you're going to use an infinitive after that. But there are other times you have to use the infinitive phrase, the to plus infinitive. There's another grammar lesson. I think Abby will cover this next grammar lesson. Grammar 9.2 goes more into depth. But let's talk about use a little bit. So when we use the infinitive phrase, again, the word to plus infinitive verb, we want to describe the purpose of an action. We want to answer the why. Why do something? Okay. He went to France to study French. Why did he go to France? To study French. When we use an infinitive form, here the infinitive phrase, to study, it means the purpose. So we could phrase this as the question, why did he go to France? Well, to study French. So this gives us the purpose of the first verb, why he went to France. So here's our main verb, went, and we say where he went to France. We give the location as well. And then when we give the infinitive phrase, it will say the purpose. It will answer the question, why? Why? Good, Thushara. That's a good example sentence. Thushara says, I watch Smrt to study English. Why does Thushara watch Smrt? The purpose is to study English. Yassine, it's okay if you're late. We are studying gerunds and infinitives, verb ings plus infinitives. I'll share the link to the class notes one more time. I'm glad you were passing the exam and not failing the exam, Yassine. Paluxia, why do you drink? I drink to get drunk. Well, your reasons are your own, but that is correct grammar. You used the infinitive phrase to tell us purpose. Nitesh, why did you go to France? Nitesh says, I went to France to meet Leo. The purpose of his visit to France was to meet Leo. That's correct grammar. Good, Nitesh. Sway, why did Neil went to sub Abby's class? Why did I go? Why did I get up this morning? I'm still asking myself that question. Neil went to sub Abby's class, and here I am. The purpose of my going, the purpose of why I went is to sub for Abby's class. Edwards, you went to the DMV to do general testing for your license driving. Yeah, why did Edward go to the DMV? To do the general test, to take the general test. So when we use infinitive phrases, it's to state purpose. Purpose. Let's look at another example sentence. Do you want to come over to have dinner? Do you want to come over to have dinner? Why is he asking this question? I don't know who's asking the question. I'm assuming he's asking the question. Do you want to come over to have dinner? What is the purpose of the invitation? What is the purpose of coming over? To have dinner. Why, of course. Natty, you went to Australia to cuddle koalas. Natty wrote the sentence, I went to Australia to cuddle koalas. Why did Natty go to Australia? To cuddle koalas. Good reason to go to Australia. Now I want to go to Australia. Now I want to cuddle a koala. Let's look at yet another example. The teacher left to go to the bathroom. Why did the teacher leave? To go to the bathroom. The teacher left to go to the bathroom. So again, the infinitive phrase, the word to plus the infinitive verb states the purpose. Why did the teacher leave? The teacher left to go to the bathroom. And you'll notice because the teacher is gone, the students are not studying. I know these students in this picture are not like you, because even if I was gone, like even if I disappeared, you would keep studying. And another example. I didn't come to speak with you. I'm here to talk with Joe. I didn't come to speak with you. I'm here to talk with Joe. So we can state it in the negative even. I didn't come to speak with you. That is not my purpose. I don't want to speak with you. I'm here to talk with Joe. This is my purpose. This is positive. So this is the purpose. Not this one. Kind of an impolite thing to say. I'm guessing this is Joe. I don't know which one is saying this. Maybe her. I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to talk to Joe. Okay, let's talk present and past simple. Present and past simple. Way back in units 2 and 3, if you remember, when we make negative sentences or questions in the present simple or past simple tenses, we need to use infinitive verbs with do, don't, does, doesn't, or did, didn't. So let's look at some examples. Present simple is I play the piano. Negative, I don't play the piano. Question form, do I play the piano? And that's all present simple. Present simple for third person singular, he, she, or it. He plays the piano. He doesn't play the piano. Does he play the piano? That's positive, negative, and question. And finally, past simple, she played the piano. She didn't play the piano. Did she play the piano? So again, positive, negative, and question form for past simple. Let's look at verb ing now, used in past and present continuous. Again, way back in units 2 and 3, we studied that we need be plus verb ing when we use the present and past continuous tenses. I am verb ing. I am going or I am watching a movie. Past, I was watching a movie. You are eating a sandwich, or you were eating a sandwich. He is washing his car. She is washing her car. It is washing its car? No, its don't have cars. It is sleeping. Past, he was washing his car. She was washing her car. It was sleeping. We are studying for our test tomorrow. They are studying for their test tomorrow. We were studying for our test tomorrow. They were studying for our test tomorrow. So, when we use verb ing here, it's not a gerund, it's not a verb pattern, it's either a present or past continuous verb. Let's look at some examples. It wasn't raining hard when I woke up this morning. Now again, this is not a verb pattern. This is, well, what is it? Let's see, was. Is that present or is it past? This was present or past. If I say it wasn't raining, am I talking about the present or the past? What do you think? What do you think? It wasn't raining hard when I woke up this morning. Is that present or is that past? Yes. Good. Paluxio, you're first. Yes, Jamil. This is past. Wasn't. Past negative. It wasn't raining hard when I woke up this morning. But if we look out the window now, it is raining hard now, but it wasn't raining hard when I woke up this morning. We have the be verb and the past of the be verb. That's right, Fabio. Past continuous. Past continuous. Wasn't raining. Nitesh, you write the example sentence, when I went to her home, she was studying. That's a correct grammar for past continuous. Here we have past continuous negative. It wasn't raining hard when I woke up this morning. Let's look at another example sentence. What are you doing? Here is a question, obviously because of the question mark at the end. What are you doing? How about this one? Is this present or is this past? Is this present or is this past? Natty, none of these are passive voice. None of these are passive sentences. These are all active sentences so far. What are you doing? What do you think? Yes, this is present continuous. It's a present continuous question form. We have are. What are you? We use are because of the you. Even when we invert the be verb, the auxiliary verb, and the subject, we still need the correct form. We can't say what is you or what am you. We say what are you doing? ing, are doing, present continuous. What are you doing right now? Another example sentence I should pop out. Sorry if my head and shoulders are blocking any of these sentences. John was making dinner when I got home. What was John doing when I got home? John was making dinner when I got home. He was not finished yet. He was still in the process. John was making dinner when I got home. Good. I didn't even have to ask it. Asiya, Selma. John was making dinner when I got home. Sway, that is a good question. Where is my coffee? Obviously, we need some coffee in the North Side studios. And I did not bring my coffee tumbler with me this morning. I forgot. It's very strange. It's strange to you, too, that I don't have my coffee. It is very strange to me. But rest assured, be very confident that when I'm finished, I will get coffee when I'm done with class. First thing. I forgot to stop off and get coffee. I didn't make coffee at home. Our North Side studios need a coffee maker. So, first thing after I'm done with class, I will get coffee. I'll be very confident, I am going to get a coffee. John was making dinner when I got home. This is past continuous, was making. After the auxiliary be, we'll have the ing form. If we want to use past or present continuous, we need a be verb. We need a be verb that's correct with the subject and an ing verb. And another example. So let me disappear for a second. Charlie's playing video games with a friend. Charlie is playing video games with a friend. Asaya, good sentence, Asaya. Neil was sleepwalking while he came to the studio. Neil was sleepwalking while he came to the studio. Indeed, it felt like I was sleepwalking when I came to the studio. Bharat, I assure you, I will get a coffee after class. You know that. You know that I love coffee and I will get it. Okay, Charlie's playing video games with a friend. Here is, it's the be verb is, playing, is playing. Charlie's playing video games with a friend. Because we have that be verb, we have to use ing when we write past or present continuous. Good. That's right. Estranyor, present continuous. Estoy, you know it is present progressive. We can call it present progressive. I use the word continuous. It is also known as the present progressive. Present continuous or present progressive. Shankar, that's a good example sentence. I am watching Smrt class. Am watching. Neil isn't drinking coffee today. Good use of the negative, Nitesh. Neil isn't drinking coffee today. Now we're going to talk about the passive form, past and present continuous passive. Sounds like a lot, and it is. Remember the passive forms of the past and present continuous tenses. When we have the passive form of the continuous, we are going to use the word being, B-E-I-N-G, and a past participle, am being watched. I think I am being watched by the police. He is being tested by the teacher. We are being told how to do the homework. And then the past is kind of the same. He was being scolded for making a mess. And the verb scold or scolded means when your parents punish you with words. It's punishment with words, scold. Good, Thushar, a good example sentence. We are being taught by Neil. Great example sentence. Neil is being asked a lot of questions now. Good, Paluxio. Actually, I'm not being asked questions. I'm being given excellent example sentences. We use this. Why would we use present or past continuous passive forms? When we want to focus not on the agent of the action, not on the subject that does the action, but on the object or the person that is being affected by the action. Maybe we can look at an example and see this. The elevator was being fixed when I arrived. Now, I don't need to say who is fixing the elevator. It's the repairman. It's the mechanic. It's the elevator repairman. So I don't need to say that. And that person is not the focus of my sentence. The elevator is. I want to talk about the elevator. I want to talk about the object. So I'm going to use the passive form. The elevator was being fixed when I arrived. Notice for passive continuous, we're still going to use an ing, and that ing is being. Being will be our ing form. The windows are being washed right now. I don't need to say buy the window cleaners. That is obvious. What I want to talk about are the windows. And windows don't wash themselves. Windows don't wash themselves, which is unfortunate. It would be nice if we had self-cleaning windows, but we don't. And I don't want to talk about the window washer. I want to talk about the object, the thing, the windows. So I'm going to use passive form. The windows are being washed right now. For the present continuous, we're going to use are being. And then notice our verb washed. Washed. That's actually verb 3. That's the past participle. Wash, washed, washed. The windows are being washed. Our photo is being taken. So we're going to talk about the photo that's going to appear in the camera in a second. Our photo is being taken. We're not talking about the family or the people. We're talking about the photo. The photo is being taken, and the photo cannot take itself. It cannot do that action. So we're going to use present continuous passive. Our photo is being taken. Notice after being, our continuous being, B-E-I-N-G, we use verb 3, taken, is being taken. Nitesh, the sentence would be Leo is being interrogated by the sheriff. Leo is being jailed in Supermax. Of course, what would one of these classes be without a Leo and the sheriff example sentence? I want in this shot. I want my picture taken with this family. Cheese. Okay. And that's it. So we talked about infinitive verbs. Remember, the infinitive verb is the unchanged form. Verb 1, the dictionary form. The base form, that's infinitive form. Verbs have many forms, but we use the infinitive form. One area where we use the infinitive form is after a modal. After the modals will, might, may, can, could, must, should, would, shall. Always, 100%, after a modal verb, use the infinitive verb. Use the infinitive verb. We use infinitive phrases, and remember, infinitive phrase is just the word to, just that short word to plus infinitive. When we have phrases like am going to, have to, or need to, because we have this word to, our next verb has to be infinitive, has to be the infinitive form. We often use infinitive phrases to state purpose, why we are doing something. He went to France to study French. When we have present simple, past simple for positive, negative, and question, for present simple, of course, if you have I, if your subject's I, you're going to use the infinitive form. If your subject is he, she, it, third person singular, you do not use the infinitive form because it adds the S place. And past simple, past form is never infinitive form. However, if you have past or present continuous, you will use an ing after the be verb. For example, again, it wasn't raining hard when I woke up this morning. Past and present continuous passive, you will have a form of the be verb as well as the word being, B-E-I-N-G. That'll be your verb ing plus a past participle, like the elevator was being fixed when I arrived. So that's what we covered. And all of those things we covered, we didn't really talk about verb patterns. Maybe that will be a good lesson next time in Abby's class, or even in my class. I can cover that. I've covered that before, but we can talk about it again. Verb patterns. But here we're just looking at some rules of when to use infinitive verbs, unchanged verbs, base verbs, verb ones, and verb ing, gerund forms. So I'm glad you were able to join me this morning as I substituted for Abby. I substituted for Abby's class. It's good to see so many familiar faces and names and some new ones as well. One last time, I am going to add the links to the class notes. I'm glad to see so many of you are joining so many of these different classes. As you noticed, this class was a little slower and a little simpler than my Wednesday class because this is this is basic English. I will speak faster tomorrow and maybe give a more complicated lesson. But I'm glad that you are still joining all these and trying all the levels. You should try all the levels and see which one works for you, whether it's beginner, intermediate, upper intermediate, or academic English. As always, my words of encouragement: never give up, always try, always keep trying English, always improve your English, always find ways to use your English in your everyday lives. Hopefully you have those opportunities. And of course, you can always go back and watch these videos again in the archive. So please keep practicing. You're also excellent. You're excellent writers, and you are excellent students. Yes, I will be here tomorrow as well for my regularly scheduled class. I will be here at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, that's 15:30 Greenwich Mean Time. So I will be back, but right now I have to get coffee. I have to get coffee because I'm missing my addiction right now. Okay, everybody, remember, always practice English, always study English. I look forward to seeing some of you, if not most of you, tomorrow. Until then, I will be back, and yeah, I'll just be back in a day. But practice your English for just this day. It still applies. The words of advice still apply, even if it's just for one day. Find a place to practice. Okay, here's a short message from Sean, and a special thanks to all of you who are fasting and still joining these classes. Good job. I don't know how you do it. You're being very strong and very excellent. I will see you tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye. Here's Sean.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want the full experience of being a student in a Smrt Live class with things like homework and teacher feedback, follow the link and become a premium subscriber. Also, if you want to see more videos from this class, check out our playlist.